Hello everyone, happy Monday. It's Mike with FlowTrack. Today we're going to be showing you how you can lock down your system with roles and permissions. So we're talking about role-based access control. So a lot of other systems you guys seen out there kind of have this all or nothing approach, right? You either can see everything or you can't, right? Or you can do everything or you can't. And that's with whole sections of the system. Like you can see all contacts or you can't, right? And so we have a really detailed role-based access control system. We're going to be diving into that today and showing you how that works, because you have a level of detail and customization that you is really just mind-blowing, right? A lot of detail. So first, I want to say drop any questions that you may have in the chat. Just comment below. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe button. So let's get started. So I'm inside FlowTrack, right? And I'm just navigating over to settings. Now in settings, you have the ability to create multiple roles. And so what are roles? Roles are just like a role you would have in your business or organization. You might have a sales role, you might have a web design role, you might have an admin role, right? And so each of these roles can see and do different things inside the system. So everyone gets a default all access role by design. You can always just click this copy button and you can make a copy of this role. It makes it really easy to customize. And inside here, you can actually customize the role. So let's take a look. So I made a role in here that says client role. I'm going to dive into this. And in the client role, we can customize every little thing about the system. So we tried to organize these roles to match the section names that we have on the left. So you might see billing or payments in this example, the chats, companies, configuration, contacts, etc. Now you can just switch on and off like whole sections of this, right? So you want to turn off the ability to create contacts. Great, you can do that, right? You can turn these off in bulk. But if you want to get really granular and say, you know what, this person really doesn't need to be editing the address of the contact, and I don't want them to be able to log in as a user, let's just go ahead and take that off, right? So this may be a virtual assistant or another user. You can really get granular and lock them down on these different settings, even down to using the filters, right? If they can use the filter to search for create date, etc., you got a lot of detail. So the way to use this is we have 5 columns. Typically, you got create permissions, delete permissions, edit, reporting, and view. Right? So if you want to leave it so they can see the data, but they can't edit, delete, or create data, you would just uncheck these boxes. So this is really simple to use. Get as granular as you want to really lock down your system. The most common thing that we see is you may get a web designer that's helping you out or a virtual assistant, right? And you want to just access the one pipeline that they're working on, right? Well, now you can come in and do that. You don't want someone to accidentally delete your site or edit the site or poke around and do things that they don't need to be doing. And so that's when we want to come in and use roles. So come in here and create a role for each type of user that you have. And the great thing is, even if the roles end up having similar permissions or even the same permissions, just the fact that you can separate these users into their role and responsibility, like sales, web designer, BA, allows you to customize it in the future, even if you're not going to customize it now. Let me show you how you can use this role now once we create it and where you can really see what roles these users have. So inside the context section or the database, you're going to have this blue tag on here. It tells you anytime you have a user on your accounts. I have one right here for Mike Test. I can click on this, and on this I can see down below what the person's username is, what their email address is, and what their role is, right? So this person has the client role. And so if I ever need to know what that is, right, I can just click on that. I can go back to the client role and I can see, oh, this is what the client can do. They can do everything except see white label, right? I don't want them to see the white label section. So I turn that off, right? You can turn it off in bulk, just turn off all these. So that's great. I got a role for my client. He can't see white label. That's exactly what I want. Now, if you ever need to delete a role or delete the access this user has, we have this little trash can icon. So this little row right here tells you that this user has access to this role on this system. Now, if you need to change that, you need to add a second role, you can actually add multiple roles to a user, right? They may be working in their sales role one day and then switch over to a web design role another day, and you can revoke these or add new ones anytime. So all you want to do if you add in a new one is go ahead and click on the add role. It's going to ask you what system can this user access, right? And so by default, it defaults to current system. So this means that you're going to be adding a team user to your account, right? Because they're going to be working with you. So your current system, it means they're, able to access your contacts, your sites, your pipelines, all of that. Now, if it's a client, right, they're going to have their own system. So you'll be able to select that in the dropdown. But chances are you're not going to be messing with your client roles too much. You're just going to give them a client role, right? And then they're off to the races. But definitely useful for your team. So you can come in, you would probably select current system by, leave that selected by default. And now I can select another role. And so you just do that, you click submit, and then you're done. So it's that easy to add that to the system. So now you can see over here on the left, I got this one user that has two roles, client role and a limited role. So in this example, this user actually has access to two different systems, right? So this client can access their own system, which is named Mike Test. And then they have a limited role on my system, which is the system demo. So this enables the user to actually use the role switcher. So on the top right, you got this little icon right here. You can click on that. You can actually switch roles to dive into different systems or dive into different roles and responsibilities. So great option right here, and amazing flexibility because again, you can customize literally everything. Now, some of my favorite features in here inside the roles is actually this thing called data visibility. So you can limit people to seeing certain objects in here based on if they own that object. So a common use case is, right, let's say you got a sales team and the sales team doesn't need to see the whole list of leads for the whole organization, right? They only want them to see leads that are assigned to them. Well, in that case, under data visibility, we can modify the role and say, well, let's not show all contacts, right? Let's not show all companies. They're only going to see companies that are owned by them, right? And so where do you set if a contact is owned by this person or not? Well, let's show you because that's super simple. So diving back into the contact, you have an owner field right here. This tells you who owns this contact, and you can click on that. You can change the owner, and you can even do that from a flow, right? So part of the automations that you may develop is, right, when you get a new lead, randomly assign this to a sales team, right? Randomly assign this to a user. And that way, when your user has a role that limits them to only see data that they're the owner of, or contacts that they're the owner of, now they can see this contact in the system. So super powerful way to really customize and manage your system. A lot of people ask about roles in the context of hiding menu items on the left, right? And so remember, every time you disable a permission for something, if they don't have permission, they don't have a single permission in the billing section, then they're not going to see the payments or billing menu on the left, right? If they don't have permission in the chat system, they're not going to see the chat menu item on the left. So this is another way you can actually use this to hide or customize your menu and the built-in options in here. So everything is customizable. You can hide and show every little detail. There's no limitation on that. So definitely come in here and check this out and see, the level of detail that you guys have, even down to the field level. This is one of the most, I think, shocking things to people if they're switching from another system, because a lot of times they didn't have access to be able to hide specific fields. Like, how do I hide the email address from this person? Like, I just want them to be able to, click the call, that sort of thing. So you get really granular. So now I'm going to take this time and actually go over some of the questions in the chat. So we're going to be answering questions today on these roles and role-based access controls and how they work. So diving in the chat now. Got some people saying, dude, I love this. Well, thank you. The team definitely has been killing it with these amazing features to give you guys complete flexibility in here. So then we got another person asking, what happens if they delete something that we don't want them to do? Is there a recovery feature? So that's a great question. And so we have a few different options in here that can help with the accidental deletion of things, right? So first of all, I just want to say, and we've had this, from the beginning, if anyone tries to accidentally delete your account, right, we have a double two-factor verification that happens. So you'll get an email, and enter this code, and it's the two-factor authentication. And then even after that, there's a 7-day cooldown period. So the account is scheduled for deletion. So you have time to say, hey, I didn't do that. What's happening? So that's a great feature to make sure your accounts are protected. The other feature that we have, which is really amazing, is we do have versioning in the form builder. So I don't know if everyone has seen this, but anytime you're saving a form inside the form builder, right, I can come in here and change one of these. When you click save, and this is the home services demo I did the other day for a home services company, a dynamic quotation engine. Every time you save the form, it asks you for a version number. So this is because we actually have the multiple versions on the back end. Same with the form, same with the web designer. Now the team is still working on a cool UI to show you guys the different versions of stuff, so you guys can actually go in and, let's say, roll back to another version or restore a previous version. So great question on that. And then obviously the one of the powerful things in here too is our full audit log. All right, so we've had a full audit log from the beginning. So you can come in here and there's a little icon next to the user audit log right here. You can see that in the video. You just click on that and you can see all the activity and actions that this user has taken. Now, the beautiful thing is this logs literally every single API call. So every little thing you can do, whether it's view, insert, create, update, delete, everything is logged, literally everything. So there's no wondering what happened. It's all there in the log. So super awesome and great question. I appreciate that. We got some people saying, hi, Mike. Well, hey, back at you. Happy Monday. I appreciate you guys all joining us today. Going over some other questions in here. We got someone asking about how can we hide custom links for different types of accounts. So that was one of the features that we got on the roadmap. That was a great one. So for those of you that don't already know, you do have the ability to embed other apps inside the system. So like this is embedding like Mashable.com, for example. And so people have been asking, well, how can I make this menu dynamic for different types of customers or different roles? So the team's working on that and looking at how we can do that. But that's a great question. Let's go into some of the other questions. Let's see. Ricky was asking a question. Can you go over the workaround on how to add custom navigation tabs to where you can allow certain clients and customers have access to that tab? That's a great question too. So we do have a cool way where you can dynamically insert menu items on the left side tab. And pretty much what you got to do is when you come into the navigation section, obviously you can drag and drop to rearrange these and customize the icons and the menus and all that stuff for those of you that haven't seen that, right? So come in and change the icon color, right? Change the background color. You can even change the icon itself, right? Pick a custom one. Now, if you wanted to, let's say, add a dynamic menu item in here, when you're adding a new item, you can actually use a variable, right? And so when you're putting a variable in here, you may actually store a link, let's say on the contact, maybe in the Google Plus field that no one's ever going to use, right? So you can put the link to some third-party CRM, like an MLS service or external tool, a help desk, right? You can give it some name. And if that link is stored on the contact, right, this is going to dynamically insert that link in the navigation menu. So this does allow you to customize the left side navigation. So that's a great question. And if the user doesn't have this link on their profile, well, then the icon doesn't show up. So that can be a great way to dynamically control your left side menu. So great question. Let's see. Then we got someone asking about if you add a custom menu item, is there a permission for that? So that is a great question too, and that'll be part of when we add the permission, add the custom menu items as a role. So you can actually assign a menu group to a role so that each one can have a custom unique menu. So great question on that. And then we see we got, says, okay, perfect. Making sure disgruntled employees can't disable our clients' business or my business. Yes. Well, the first problem is make sure you don't have any disgruntled employees, right? So treat everyone good, and then hopefully you can eliminate that problem. But yes, you know, obviously that's a huge part of what the built-in roles are for. You know, you don't want a disgruntled employee or an adversary or you know, someone accidentally even going in and deleting different things, right? They delete a credit card on a client's account, and you're like, oh no, we can't bill them anymore, right? So that's bad. So go in and just turn that permission off. They can't delete the credit cards. Great. So you can still be in business. So great question or comment. So thank you. I got another person saying, this is freaking amazing. This will make things so much easier to control and keep from getting messed up. Absolutely. Absolutely appreciate that, the comments. And we got another person laughing. I assume that was to the disgruntled employee comment. So, but yeah. So, but yeah, just come in here, check it out. I wanted to show this to you guys and make sure you guys see the power that you guys have to really build something unique and custom and really protect your business, right? These role-based access controls, they are about protecting your business. It's protecting your revenue. It's protecting your websites. It's protecting the data and the contacts you have in there, you know, for privacy reasons and all that sort of good stuff, and protecting against accidents. So definitely, if you guys haven't seen this, go in there, take a look at it, take advantage of these role-based access controls. And if you haven't already signed up, definitely click the link below and sign up for FlowTrack today. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. This was a quick lunch and learn. So just a reminder, we're doing these lunch and learns every week. We do it at Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we have Caviar Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Which is actually in a webinar platform that we use. And then we have Champagne Fridays, 3 p.m. Eastern. And we go over great topics like this on how to do different things inside FlowTrack. And then we go over just a really long question and answer section. So if you guys haven't already signed up for that, I'll drop the links in the comments below. And you guys can sign up for the Caviar Wednesday or Champagne Friday. So I appreciate all you guys. And we have great news coming very shortly on the calendar. So like maybe a day or two away or so, but we're really close. So stay tuned. We got calendar 2.0 launching, and this is actually going to be with some crazy features. So not only do we have like the team calendars and the group calendars and the round robin and everything you would expect, right, from a great calendar app, but we got things like limiting the number of attendees. We got things like the having fixed events. It's like if you're doing maybe a yoga retreat, right? It might not be a recurring event, might just be a one time or a week, or it could be even a recurring thing, like recur every 3 weeks, right? So you have lots of flexibility in there to customize it, and the ability to customize your booking page in the designer. So it's going to be really awesome. Can't wait to show you guys. And so stay tuned on that. But I appreciate you guys joining me today. Happy Monday, and we got more great stuff to come. Thanks. Bye.